Hello and welcome to Pariksha Parv 5.0. We are now going live on New India Junction, NCPCR and Doordarshan. Pariksha Parv 5.0 is a campaign organized for exam warriors where our guests will clear students' doubt about exam and exam-related stress. Today we also have students joining us live from various schools to interact with our esteemed guests. Today we have very special guests with us, Pallavi Joshi ji and Vivek Agnihotri ji. Pallavi Joshi ji is an actress, writer, film producer and a host. Vivek Agnihotri ji is a film director, film producer, screenwriter and an author. Their movie Kashmir Files has recently won Best Film at Dada Saheb Phalke International Film Festival Awards for its direction. Pallavi ji was also with us in last Pariksha Parv, which was Pariksha Parv 4.0. Vivek ji is joining us for the first time. Hello ma'am, hello sir. We welcome you to Pariksha Parv 5.0.
Thank you. It's lovely being here once again, and I'm seeing students sitting in front. Hello everyone.
So now that it is about Pariksha, it is about examination. So let's start from examination. And I would want to know कि when you were younger, you were students, so how did you used to deal with examination and how did you used to prepare for examination and what used to be your mindset and your schedule during that?
Diplomatic jawab दूँ या you want me to be honest? Honestly, you know, we grew up in different times, right? So there used to be a lot of stress back then. Unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of choices in front of us. So maths and science was compulsory, which were my weak subjects. Okay. And history and geography were also compulsory, which must have been somebody else's weaker subjects, right? So when we would approach the exams as they would come close, we used to start feeling very scared because you know, you didn't want to be called a failure in life, and it was very easy to you know, fail a child during our times, and teachers were, you know, they were merciless. They wouldn't even give you that 1 mark grace. But of course today, you know, we are very, very sensitive about children, about their well-being, about their overall happiness. And that's why very small things like these can be, you know, neglected or can be worked upon, which wasn't the case during my time. But thanks to that time, I think it gave, I think both of us and all the people of my generation, a great fighting spirit. Right. Because we knew that there was no way out. सामना तो करना है मतलब वहाँ सामने वो परीक्षा का एक इतना बड़ा राक्षस खड़ा है, तो वो परीक्षा तो देनी है, आप उसको एस्केप नहीं कर सकते. लेकिन वो आज I find myself year after year giving newer exams with each new film. And my approach to every single film is the same. At first I'm very scared because I don't know how it's going to turn out. And later as I cross that road and I know that, okay, people have liked it, like what happened with Tashkent Files or Kashmir Files or our new film which is coming up now, the vaccine war. So there is a bit of nervousness right now, there's anxiety, there's a...
So basically the stress never ends. Even if one grows up and one is not a student, but in a professional life, stress is there. So ma'am and sir...
But I think you manage stress very well.
You learn to
manage it.
Yes. Yeah. But how did you used to manage the stress back then? जो exam से पहले एक stress होता है कि you know, कल I have to write my exam, how am I going to write, ये question आ गया तो मुझे नहीं आता, and you know, sometimes students also have sleepless nights because they are very confused कि क्या करेंगे, कैसे question आएंगे. So how did you used to manage in those times?
I think Vivek should answer this because I still had it easy. I came from a background of actors and you know, writers. But Vivek's father was a professor. Okay. So he comes from an academic background. His father was a vice chancellor. So for him to perform well at the exams was, you know, absolutely mandatory. So I think he should be able to talk about stress better.
So sir, how did you manage?
तो मैं इंग्लिश में बोलूँ हिंदी में बोलूँ?
सर हिंदी में जिसमें भी आप कंफर्टेबल हैं.
अच्छा, तो सबसे पहले तो एक तो हाँ, मेरे ऊपर बहुत प्रेशर था परफॉर्मेंस का, और होता भी था उस वक्त में भी था काफ़ी, और आज तो और भी ज़्यादा है. तो लेकिन एग्ज़ाम का देखिए 2-3 तरह के बच्चे होते हैं। एक तो वो होते हैं जो पूरे साल पढ़ते रहते हैं, रात को भी जगते हैं और कुछ नहीं करते हैं, वो भी गलत है। और दूसरे ऐसे होते हैं जो साल भर बस मस्ती करते रहते हैं, खेलते रहते हैं और उन्हें किसी भी चीज़ से मतलब नहीं होता है, और जब एग्ज़ाम आता है तो कहते हैं अरे बाप रे अब कैसे पढ़ाई करेंगे। तो या तो रट्टा मार के पढ़ो, वही एक तरीका होता है। जो लोग साल भर नहीं पढ़ते वो रट्टा मार के पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन जो साल भर पढ़ते हैं वो भी रट्टा मार के पढ़ते हैं, ये इसमें भी कोई शक नहीं है। और पर मैंने एक तरीका ढूंढ लिया उसका, वो है स्मार्ट प्रेपरेशन। स्मार्ट प्रेपरेशन का मतलब ये है कि किसी भी सब्जेक्ट के जो फंडामेंटल्स हैं, वो फंडामेंटल्स अगर आप समझ जाएं तो आप ऐसे भी सवालों को सॉल्व कर सकते हैं जो शायद आपकी लाइफ में पहली बार आते हैं। तो जैसे अगर फिज़िक्स है, उसमें आपको ग्रेविटी, मास, एनर्जी, लाइट, ये अगर फंडामेंटल्स इनके पता है, और इसीलिए लाइफ में भी देखिए आगे चल के जीवन में भी, लाइफ में भी, फ्रेंडशिप में हो, रिलेशनशिप में हो, माँ बाप के साथ रिश्ते हों, टीचर्स के साथ रिश्ते हों, अल्टीमेटली सब जो है फंडामेंटल्स पे टिके होते हैं। जब कुछ गड़बड़ होते हैं, दोस्तों में झगड़ा हो जाता है, वेयर डू दे गो बैक? दे गो बैक टू द फंडामेंटल्स कि अरे सब कुछ छोड़ो यार, अपन दोस्त हैं, वो ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है। तो इसी तरह से एग्ज़ाम्स का मैंने देखा कि स्मार्ट प्रेपरेशन जो है वो एक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है। दूसरी एक प्रेपरेशन का जो बेस्ट तरीका ये होता है कि ये मान के स्कूल जाओ कि मुझे कुछ भी नहीं आता है, और जब आपको कुछ भी नहीं आता है तो हर चीज़ में आप टीचर से सवाल पूछ सकते हैं, आप अपने जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं साथ के उनसे कुछ भी सवाल पूछ सकते हैं, और जब आपको एक ही सवाल के तरह तरह के जवाब मिलते हैं तो इतनी इंटेलिजेंस ईश्वर हर बच्चे को देता है कि वो उसका बेस्ट आंसर समझ सके। तो और फिर वो आपको याद भी नहीं करना पड़ता है, बिकॉज वो आपकी लाइफ का पार्ट बन जाता है। तो मैंने मेरी लाइफ में 3 तरह से मैंने प्रिपेयर किया। एक तो पहले तो टीचर के डंडे से डर के, माँ बाप के गुस्से से डर के, तो मतलब बस पढ़ो पढ़ो। उसके बाद जब मैं हाई स्कूल और हायर सेकेंडरी में था तो फिर मैं समझ गया कि स्मार्ट प्रेपरेशन ज़्यादा अच्छा होता है। साल भर कुछ भी मत करो, लास्ट के 1-1.5 महीने में वेरी स्मार्टली पढ़ाई करके निकल जाओ। उस ज़माने में वो भी आती थी कीज़ एंड कुंजियाँ, गाइड्स, इसमें होता था कि इतने सवाल इतनी बार आए हैं तो इसकी प्रोबेबिलिटी ज़्यादा है आने की। लेकिन कई बार ऐसे सवाल आ जाते थे जो कभी आए नहीं है, तो वहाँ फंस जाते हैं उसमें। पर उसके बाद जब मैं कॉलेज में चला गया तो मुझे समझ में आया ये एग्ज़ाम जो है ये सिर्फ 1 महीने में नहीं होता है। ये एग्ज़ाम आपका 365 दिन है और पूरे जीवन आपका एग्ज़ाम है। और एग्ज़ाम क्या है? एग्ज़ाम का मतलब ये है कि आपके लाइफ के सामने जो समस्या या परिस्थिति खड़ी हुई है, अच्छी बुरी जैसी भी है, उसको कैसे सॉल्व करना है, अपनी ज़िंदगी कैसे जीनी है। ये पढ़ाई लिखाई 99.9% लोग नौकरी के लिए करते हैं, लेकिन पढ़ाई जो है वो जीवन जीने के लिए करनी चाहिए। तो अगर आप उस तरह से प्रिपेयर करेंगे लाइफ के एग्ज़ाम के लिए, तो ये कॉलेज स्कूल के एग्ज़ाम फिर बहुत ही लिटरली बच्चों का खेल बन जाते हैं।
बिल्कुल सर। सो बेसिकली पूरी लाइफ ही एग्जाम है और उस तरीके से हमें प्रिपेयर करना चाहिए शुरू से। सो इसी पे हम एक क्वेश्चन लेंगे। वी हैव स्टूडेंट्स ज्वाइनिंग लाइव। सो वी हैव निहान्या गुप्ता फ्रॉम आयशर स्कूल हु इज फ्रॉम क्लास 10th।
A very good afternoon, respected sir and ma'am. We as students are often asked by both society and our teachers what we wish to be as we grow up. So while we are very sure of what we want to be and our career path, we are often put into a matter of doubt. When someone asks us to think of a second option because they don't think that we can make it or it's not serious enough for them. So hence I want to ask you how we can tackle situations that may put us in that situation and make us question our self-worth or our career choices, and request you to share your life stories regarding this issue.
You want to start?
You too.
See, I'm going to answer first as a mother, okay? So, if you were my daughter and if you had asked me this question, I would have simply told you, beta, follow your heart, do exactly what you want to do, but have a fallback option in life. Not to discourage anyone, but just in case, due to circumstances, due to any other thing, what you want to achieve in life, what you want to make your name in the path of career that you've chosen. For some reason, if it doesn't work out, then there should be a fallback option for you. That is the only safety net as your mother or as your teacher or as somebody older would be my advice. But if I were in your age and if somebody gives me this kind of an advice, I'd also tell you what I would think. I would think, fine, what you're saying is still okay, but I'm still going to do what I want to do. So while having a fallback option is a great idea, not to lose focus from what you want to do is the primary thing to remember. And when you're focused, you will achieve what you've set to achieve. So if there is somebody who's trying to pull you back, pull you down, creating doubts in your mind, just don't let them, come in your way. If they're giving you some kind of an advice, telling you that, हाँ शायद ये problem आ सकती है, heed their advice, okay? But if somebody is trying to pull you down, I don't have to tell your generation what to do. You guys are very smart. It's a new generation, a lot smarter than our generation. So don't get pulled down. Always follow your dreams.
Sir, you would like to add on?
Yeah, so see, most of the world would try to create doubts in your mind. Nobody wants the other person to do what they want to do. So I call them energy drainers. So the first thing you have to do is stay away from energy drainers. And it's always good to be surrounded by people who make you learn something new, or who rationally correct if you are going wrong, but there are very few people like that. Most of the people will confuse you, they will create doubt in you, they will try to make you underconfident and demoralize you. So my trick is very simple. I just keep my ears closed when somebody is sitting close to me and telling me about my life. The minute somebody tells you what you should be doing in life, just close your ears. That's the best thing to do. And keep your eyes open to figure out who genuinely cares about you and who doesn't. And what is doubt? Doubt is not that somebody else creates it in your mind. Doubt means that your conviction is not there. You want to do something, but you are not convinced about it. There is no conviction, there is no commitment. You are not willing to give your life for it. And which is why when you are vulnerable, people can create doubts. If you have decided you want to go to, say, somewhere, you want to go to Goa for your summer holiday, but you also have couple of options in the backyard, then it's very easy for me to come and create doubt in your mind. Why Goa? Why not Kerala? Why not Himalayas? Or why not Shimla? Then you will get confused. I'll give you 10 reasons. This is cheaper, that's more expensive, and you'll get confused. But if you have conviction, then nobody can change it, right? Like I am looking at you right now, and I can see that you are a confident person, you are an ambitious person, you are a cultured person. Now, if I know this about you, why should anybody, how can anybody create doubt in my mind about you? So similarly, we have self-image, self-perception. Once you decide that this is what you are willing to give your life for, this is where you want to spend rest of your life, then nobody can create doubt if it's not in your mind. If your decision is like a rock, then how can anybody dilute it, So don't remain flexible with your life decisions, and don't fight with anybody. Just keep it for yourself. It's for you to know what you want. Let anybody say whatever they want to say. Keep your ears closed for unsolicited advice.
That was very insightful. In fact, when I was younger, I wish मुझे भी कोई ऐसी advice देता. So, sir, ma'am, moving to our next discussion. When you were kids and now that you have kids, what is the difference that you found in terms of giving exam when you were preparing and when you were preparing your kids? What was that difference?
The difference was that my stress was multifold when my children were giving exam. क्योंकि जब मेरी एग्जाम्स होती थी तब तो मुझे अकेले को पेपर लिखना था, and I really didn't care what my mother was going through. So maybe she was going through what I went through when my children were appearing for exams. See, as a parent, I think आपके मन में हमेशा ये होता है कि हाँ, my son or my daughter should do well. उन पे ये उंगली कोई ना उठाए कि अरे इनको कुछ आता नहीं या इन्होंने इसमें अच्छा नहीं किया. लेकिन मैंने थोड़ा सा अपने बच्चों को ढील दे के रखी थी, बिकॉज आई डेंट वॉन्ट देम टू लूज आउट ऑन देयर चाइल्डहुड. मैंने, आई डोंट नो इफ आई एम सेटिंग अ करेक्ट एग्जाम्पल फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ मदर्स हियर माइट डिसएग्री विथ मी, बट आई वॉजंट वन ऑफ दोज मदर्स हु एक्सपेक्टेड ओवर 90% फ्रॉम यू नो हर चाइल्ड. मैंने उनको बोला था पास हो जाओ, पहले 7-8 साल ज़िंदगी के खूब मज़े करना, लिव योर चाइल्डहुड. हाँ, व्हेन इट कम्स टू सीरियस स्टडीज़ 9th ऑनवर्ड्स, देन यू कॉन्सेंट्रेट. वो 3-4 साल आगे के आपके बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज दोज आर लाइफ चेंजिंग ईयर्स. एंड both my children, in fact I still remember my daughter had taken a permanent marker when she was in her ICSE, और सब जगह whichever wall was visible to her in her room, सब जगह वो permanent marker से she had written 80%, 80%, 80%.
That is like a vision.
हाँ, so she said मुझे 80% चाहिए. मैंने कहा that is good enough for me, मुझे कोई ज़्यादा मार्क्स की ज़रूरत नहीं, but then if you are setting a benchmark for yourself, you have to achieve it. And she got 81%.
Wow.
Just about there, you know. उसके बाद खैर we had to get the whole room repainted because of the permanent markers, which is another thing. But my son did the same thing. He had also set what you say, a benchmark for himself, and he achieved that.
Okay.
So I know this generation can do it, because जितने हम smart हमको लगता था हम अपने माँ बाप से हैं, उतने ज़्यादा स्मार्ट ये हमसे हैं. तो इट्स ऑलवेज रिलेटिव, क्योंकि ये हम लोग अगर इतने सालों के मिलियंस ऑफ ईयर्स के इंटेलिजेंस लेके पैदा हुए हैं, तो उसमें और 30 ईयर्स डाल के ये लोग पैदा हुए हैं. सो दे आर ऑब्वियसली अ मोर इंटेलिजेंट और मोर इवॉल्व्ड जनरेशन देन अस. सो अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस एंड डीलिंग विद दिस स्ट्रेस इज वेरी इजी फॉर देम.
It is basically setting that benchmark, just to be clear in the head, and then they can of course do it.
Yeah.
So we have another student with us, Harshita Vashisht from class 11th from Dev Samaj Modern School.
Good morning, sir, ma'am. I am grateful for the opportunity that I am going to interact with you today. My question to you is that how can I excel in two things at the same time? I am a science student and I want to get into the medical field after my 12th and attempt NEET. Sometimes I feel confused on how to prepare for my NEET and school simultaneously. So can you give some advice on the same?
Prepare for what simultaneously? I didn't get
For
that.
NEET and for 11th and 12th. Right, Harshita? NEET is basically your entrance exam for the medical.
Yes, ma'am. Entrance exam for the medical.
Entrance exam for the medical, and she is in 11th and 12th. So basically to write her boards and to prepare for the medical entrance exam.
Yeah, that is a double-edged sword.
Yes.
Vivek, you should take this.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry, but you are not as lucky as we were. You have to study a lot, and you also have to do your higher secondary and your 10+2+ NEET at the same time. Am I right? So you are in 11th and 12th. You will be appearing for NEET, and you have to work really, really hard for that. But then don't look at it as if you are doing two different exams. Okay. Now 11 means 11/5. You are almost 16 and 17. So now you are entering the second phase of your life, which is where you have to live life independently. And in life, you will have many situations where you will have to not one but maybe 5-6 exams at the same time you will have to give, on everyday basis, not just one day. But I'll tell you what, where the problem is. I have also done that. I have given my 11th and exam for engineering. It was called PET that time. pre-engineering test. Now it's changed. So I have done that. See, the thing is basically it's one and the same thing. In my mind, these are not two different things, because we think in terms of exams, so it becomes two different things. But it's like if somebody, like if you know where you live, your colony, or you know your school building so well, right? If somebody asks you, okay, first you go to 9th A standard and on your way back also go to 6th A standard and get something from there, you can, without thinking, very easily you can do that, because you're very familiar with that. And in your mind, both the classes are in the same school. So what matters to you is the school. You don't look at the rooms and the classrooms in the school. So look at it like one big thing, rather than breaking it into two. Look at it as a whole thing. And if your fundamentals are clear, like I said earlier, if your fundamentals of biology, botany, physics, chemistry, if these subjects are clear, then how does it matter whether you are giving exam of 12th, or you are giving NEET, or you are giving just sitting with friends and answering? Or suppose you get to meet me and I ask you 5-6 questions, generally out of curiosity, you should be able to answer that with as much ease as you can in NEET or in your 12th exam. So, but it's a problem with the education system. That education system divides everything. They have practical problems, that's why they have to do it. And as human beings, we have to deal with it. I would say these days, a lot of students and young people work on two different social media platforms at the same time. You switch very easily between Instagram and WhatsApp without even thinking twice. You never ask this question, how I will be able to do these two things? I'm confused. You don't, because you have good practice at it. You don't look at it as two different things. You look at it as two tools of doing the same thing. So if you consider these two exams as tools or as two steps to reach one goal, then I think it will become easier in your mind. Just make it simple, make it very simple. Say, I am just going to make myself more equipped with knowledge, and I will focus more on fundamentals. It's very, very important. I tell everybody all the times in life, when you have a problem, the only solution is to go back to fundamentals. So if your fundamentals are correct, then you will have no problems. You can solve as many questions as you can. So it's one thing, don't break it into two things.
And I would just like to add one little thing, that the people who are multitaskers are always more successful. So maybe this is a good time for you, this is a correct age for you to start learning to do that, so that when you're at the correct age where you get into a job or you get into your own practice, you should be able to do better than the others, because you're already a multitasker.
So Harshita, I'm sure your doubts are now clear.
All the best, Harshita.
So basically both of you are from creative fields, and I'm sure जैसे मैम आपका inclination, you were an actor from a very young age. So how did you manage both the things? And since if someone is creative, they are creative from a very young age. They realize this, that they have a creative bent of mind and they are inclined towards creativity. So how did you manage from the very beginning? How did you realize and then go about it with the studies?
Well, I think 100% marks should go to my parents for that, because they ensured that the studies continue. If it were left to me at that age, I would have probably quit school, because I was so interested in acting and everything that was happening on the sets. But I wasn't a very famous child actor. I just did a few films, about 10, 12 films in a span of about 10 years or so.
Yes, but even then you have to get into a character. To get into that character, you need to prepare a lot. It is like preparing for an exam. That also needs a lot of, I would say, a lot of mental work also, and also a lot of time.
I think when as a child you work more on your instincts, because you don't know how to really approach acting, so you have no method for it. You just go and say those lines. The director comes and tells you, "नहीं बेटे ऐसे नहीं ऐसे बोलना है, थोड़ा और emote करो." So you just, you're there just for the moment.
Okay.
And how much does a child actor have, in any film? About 6, 7, 8 days, 10 days maximum. So 10 days in a year
Right.
was absolutely nothing. So it was not even like a drop in the ocean which could make
Okay.
my parents feel that ye bahut busy hai. So,
Okay.
she could compromise with her education. That never happened. So that's why my, education kind of continued while I was still acting. But it was only when I got into college that things went rather crazy, and I was shooting about 27, 28 days a month.
So that is practically the entire month.
Yes, I mean, and as film industry doesn't have any weekend concept,
Right,
so we
right.
work on Sundays also. So that was the time when things really, got really messed up. But until then, it was all fine, and I had ample of time for my school education and everything.
Okay, great. And what about you, sir? How did you go about it when you were a student, when you were a kid?
I like to learn. I was born and I like to learn. And I think every single child wants to learn. And as you were talking about the creativity, so I personally believe that everybody in this world is born creative. There is nobody who is not creative. But slowly unfortunately in this world we think that singers and dancers are creative people or painters are creative people. Okay, but so we have narrowed down the definition of creativity to these kind of
artists.
things. But those are, if you look at it, painting is also a skill, singing is also a skill. And what is creativity? Creativity is not painting or singing or dancing. Creativity is imagining. Whatever is there in this world today which makes your life comfortable, be it this computer, this what is called virtual conference which we are having with kids, they are sitting somewhere else talking to us. Everything, right from the button on your shirt to the comb you use, to the soap you use, to the flights you take, to all the rockets going in the space, and sitting here and knowing the heat of sun or the distance between us and the farthest star, or to pick up one fossil and figure out how old is that fossil, or pick up one small strand of hair and do all the forensics and know the DNA of your forefathers. All these things, do you consider them creative or not? But if somebody who's a fossil scientist and there's a singer sitting in the same room, people will say, इनसे मिलिए, ये बड़े creative हैं. और या कोई director या actor या writer होगा, कहेंगे ये बड़े creative लोग हैं. But the people who are actually making our life wonderful on every single day basis, nobody calls them creative. Why is it so? It's so because of the way we train and we organize this world. But I think everybody in this world is born extremely creative. And there is one example I'll give you. You guys are about 10, 15, 16-year-old. But just imagine 4 or 5 years back. Okay, if you were alone at home and if your parents are not there, or if in classroom your teacher is not there, what do? All the chairs are like unorganized. At your home there's a mess. When you are a child, you draw on the walls, you cook, you waste it, you do so many things which are crazy, and your parents shout at you, your teachers shout at you. That is creativity. Creativity basically is exploring when you are experimenting with whatever resources you have around you, and when you are experimenting with them and learning from that and creating something new out of the old. That is creativity. It's as simple as that. So please believe that you guys are creative genius, whoever is listening. Every single person in this world is born creative genius. There are only 2 gifts God has given us, for which we should always be grateful. One, that we can breathe, and second, that we can imagine. And imagination is what makes us different from animals. We are human beings because we can imagine. And imagination is your most precious gift. To forget slowly when you are 20, 30, 40, the world will force you to forget that you are imaginative, and they will ask you to do exactly how things should be done. I would suggest keep your imagination in your pocket as your strongest asset, as your strongest weapon for success.
So sir, now we have Anushka Dikshit with us from Kendriya Vidyalaya from class 11th. Hi Anushka.
Very good. Hello मैम, a very good morning to sir and ma'am. सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन आपसे ये है कि सर हम अक्सर देखते हैं कि नीट और आईआईटी जैसे प्रतियोगी परीक्षा देते समय बच्चे उसमें अक्सर सफल नहीं हो पाते हैं, जिसकी वजह से अभिभावक और समाज उन्हें हीन भावना से देखने लगते हैं, जिसके कारण बच्चा हतोत्साहित हो जाता है और अवसाद से ग्रसित हो जाता है। तो उस समय बच्चा अपने आप को उस परिस्थिति से कैसे उभार सकते हैं?
केंद्रीय विद्यालय से हूँ और
Yes, sir.
और दूसरी बात आपको ये बता दूं, मैंने भी ऐसे ही दोनों एग्ज़ाम साथ में दिए थे और मैं एक में तो मेरा 0 नंबर आया था इंजीनियरिंग टेस्ट में 100 में से, हर सब्जेक्ट में, एक में नहीं सब में, फिजिक्स में भी, मैथ्स में भी, केमिस्ट्री में, सब में 0 0 0 आए थे, राइट। और मेरी भी यही समस्या थी कि लोग आपको हतोत्साहित कर देते हैं कि भाई अब आप तुमसे नहीं हो पाएगा। लेकिन तुम्हें एक दूसरी स्टैटिस्टिक्स भी बताता हूँ, इस वर्ल्ड के जितने भी सक्सेसफुल लोग हैं वो इन दोनों एग्जाम में हमेशा फेल हुए हैं। इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप फेल हो जाइएगा पर बहुत सारे सक्सेसफुल लोग जो इस दुनिया में हैं, ज़रूरी नहीं कि हर चीज़ में आपको सामाजिक और व्यवहारिक तरीके से सफलता मिले। कई बार सफलता जो है असफलता की सीख में भी छुपी होती है। ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आप जब 12th का एग्ज़ाम दे रहे हैं तो उसमें नीट में भी आपका एडमिशन हो जाए, और अगर नीट में नहीं भी हुआ तो मुझे बताइए ऐसा कौन सा आसमान गिर पड़ेगा? एक ही तो डॉक्टर कम बनेगा इस दुनिया में, तो ऐसा क्या फ़र्क पड़ जाएगा? लेकिन क्या पता, हो सकता है आगे चल के आप एक हॉस्पिटल बनाएं जिसमें आप कितने सारे डॉक्टर्स को एम्प्लॉय करें। क्या पता कि आगे चल के आप कोई ऐसा एनजीओ बनाएं जो कि हॉस्पिटल में जिन लोगों का इलाज नहीं होता है उनके लिए काम करें और उनको फ्री में इलाज करवाएं। क्या पता है आप कल को इंडिया की हेल्थ मिनिस्टर ही बन जाएं या हेल्थ सेक्रेटरी कुछ बन जाएं और आप इंडिया की हेल्थ पॉलिसी सारी की सारी डिसाइड करें। क्या पता है आप वर्ल्ड की सबसे बड़ी फार्मा कंपनी में या कहीं पे पॉलिसी मेकर बन जाएं एमबीए करके, और आप सारी दुनिया के डॉक्टर्स आपके आगे लाइन लगा के खड़े हो। आपको क्या पता? जीवन में किसी को कुछ नहीं पता। तो जो लोग कहते हैं अभी तुम फेल हो गए या पास हो गए, वो भी एक बच्चा जब 16-17 साल का है तो ये उन लोगों का फेलियर है जो आपको फेल बताते हैं। अभी तो ये ज़िंदगी की शुरुआत है। मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल बताता हूँ कि एक कोई बहुत बड़े ज्ञानी ऋषि थे, तो वो कोई एक नई चीज़ की खोज कर रहे थे और उसमें वो 999 बार फेल हो गए थे। जब भी वो रास्ता ढूंढते थे हमेशा फेल हो जाते थे उसमें, और उसके बाद उनने लास्ट टाइम 1000वीं बार जब किया तो उसमें सफल हो गए। तो उनसे उनके एक शिष्य ने बोला कि अरे आपने इतना वक्त बर्बाद किया, जब यही सफलता का रास्ता था तो आप इस पे किसी से पूछ के तुरंत जा सकते थे। उन्होंने कहा नहीं, मेरी सबसे बड़ी सफलता ये है कि अब मुझे ये पता चल गया कौन से वो 999 रास्ते हैं जिन पे चलने से असफलता मिलती है। कई लोगों को तो मरते दम तक नहीं समझ में आता है कि कौन सा वो रास्ता है जो नहीं लेना चाहिए। तो मैं तो पहली बात, मैं पर्सनली मानता ही नहीं हूं इस बात को कि कोई भी चीज़ सफलता या असफलता होती है। अगर आप अपने जीवन में एग्ज़ाम को एक पार्ट बना लो। एक बात बताइए, कभी आप बीमार पड़ती हैं? कभी आपको सर्दी जुकाम होता है?
Yes.
तो आप तब आप क्या बोलती हैं अपनी बॉडी से कि मेरी बॉडी तुम फेल हो गई? नहीं ना, आप ये तो नहीं बोलती है मेरी बॉडी अनसक्सेसफुल हो गई या फेल हो गई। आप कहती हैं हम फिर से, चलो ठीक है, 2-4 दिन हम गर्म कपड़े पहनेंगे, थोड़ा सा काढ़ा पिएंगे और ठंड में नहीं जाएंगे, फिर से ठीक हो जाएंगे। फिर ठीक हो जाते हैं, अगली बार वो गलती नहीं करते। असफलता वो है जो कि जानने के बावजूद बार बार गलती की जाए। लेकिन कोई गलती एक रेस है, हर कोई नहीं जीतता, और इसको बिल्कुल भी दिमाग में मत रखिए कि असफलता है और ये डर कि माँ बाप क्या बोलेंगे, टीचर्स क्या बोलेंगे। तो एक गाना है बहुत पुराना हिंदी का, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना, तो इस कान से सुनो, उस कान से निकाल दो।
Anushka,
Thank
I'm
you,
sure
sir.
now your doubts are clear. Now we are taking Tejas Kumar's question from Kendriya Vidyalaya, class 9th.
A very good afternoon, sir, ma'am.
Hi, Tejas.
Yeah, hello. A very good afternoon, sir, ma'am. I am Tejas from KV. My question to you is that how you maintain balance between entertaining people and keeping yourself internally motivated during that time.
Taking it?
हाँ बताओ।
Achha. Uh, okay, let me tell you the exact answer to your question. Keeping people entertained, when we realize that people are being entertained, that becomes the greatest motivation. Because we are in the line of filmmaking. Through filmmaking, we are not just responsible to entertain people, we are also responsible to make people understand certain facts about maybe the world around us or our country or some issues that our country faces, so that they can, while getting entertained, learn something, learn some truths from the film and go back home. Now, when we realize that that is happening, that gives us the motivation to do yet another project. But there are times when, in the past, when the films haven't worked. So that gives us a motivation where we kept, having a dialogue between the two of us. We say, maybe our efforts weren't enough. हमारे थोड़े efforts इसमें कम पड़ गए. We should try again with a new subject, with a new sensibility, with a new entertainment quotient, with a new problem, and let's try to have a conversation with the audience again. Did you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
So when you realize that your message has reached across to people, you are happy and that happiness motivates you. But when the message doesn't reach across to people, you realize that maybe you made some mistake and extra efforts have to be made, and hence that gives you the extra energy to rise again and do something different and present a different dish in front of the people. Why did you ask me this question? When, how do you connect it with Pariksha Parv, if I may ask?
Ma'am, I want to explore more and more career options. So, out of curiosity, I want to ask that what keeps you motivated all along? That's it.
Do you have any chosen path of career in mind?
Not yet.
Okay, no problem. Take your time, don't be in a hurry. Take your time. पूरी जिंदगी फिर
Yes,
काम
ma'am.
ही करना है.
Thank you, Tejas.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
So we have few questions, live questions from students. So one of the student wants to know how important do you think parent support can be in child's academic development?
बताइए।
It's important. I think without the support of the parent,
It's not possible.
it's not that it's not possible. It can be possible, but it helps the child a lot, because then when you know that the parents are in your corner, that they are there to take care of you, they are there to motivate you. For any small successes in your life, they are always there to cheer you on.
Yes.
That gives you a great backup system. And the bird who can fly the highest is somebody who has great wind under his wings.
Support, motivation.
And when your parents become the wind beneath your wings, then you can scale great heights.
And we have next question from one of the student. How to deal with criticism? As I often go through emotional breakdown because of constant taunts from my teachers and parents. So this is what the student is asking.
Oh. It's a very difficult situation to be in. Criticism can have a negative impact on your psyche, and that is the reason why people taunt you, because they want you to create that negative energy inside you. You know, sometimes people do it knowingly, sometimes they do it unknowingly. But the only way to fight this negative energy is to think about something creative. See, we always stress on creativity a lot, because if you won't imagine a different scenario, you'll never be able to get out of the rut that you've put yourself in, or people have put you in. Imagine, get yourself out of it, fill yourself with so much positivity that these negative barbs do not hurt you anymore. I know it's easier said than done, because as the child is asking, it's coming from very close quarters. And it's a very unfortunate thing to happen. But Vivek has this philosophy. We always speak about the song that Rabindranath Tagore has written, Ekla Chaulare. So you're born alone in this world. You die alone in this world. Yes, you have your family, your friends, your spouse, your children, your friends, whoever, goes along with you through this life. But you're born alone and you die alone. Yes. And you have to survive alone. So the sooner you get that survival instinct inside you, the better it is.
पर एक काम ये किया जा सकता है कि अगर आपके जानने वाले जो क्लोज हैं, जैसे आपके टीचर्स हैं या आपके सीनियर स्टूडेंट्स हैं या दोस्तों का तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते, देखिए दोस्तों में हंसी मजाक चलता है, या आपके पेरेंट्स हैं तो आप उनसे जाके मिल सकते हैं सीरियसली, उनसे कहिए मैं आपसे कुछ बात करना चाहता हूँ, और उनसे कहिए कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आप अक्सर मुझसे ऐसे ताने मारते हैं, कटाक्ष करते हैं, जिससे मेरे को बुरा लगता है, तो मैं आपसे समझना चाहता हूँ मेरी ऐसी क्या बात है जो आपको अच्छी नहीं लगती, जो कि सिर्फ तानों से ही आप बोल सकते हैं। अगर आप चाहें तो आप मुझसे खुल के बोल सकते हैं और मैं उसमें सुधारने की कोशिश करूँगा। तो जब आप एक विनम्रता के साथ जाके उनसे बात करेंगे, मैंने देखा है जो क्रिटिक्स होते हैं उन्हें कुछ नहीं चाहिए होता है, जिनको आजकल ट्रोल्स भी बोलते हैं, उनको कुछ नहीं चाहिए होता है, उनको सिर्फ रिकग्निशन चाहिए होता है, वो आपकी अटेंशन चाहते हैं, इसलिए वो आपको ताने मारते रहते हैं। तो आप जब आज जाके उनसे ऐसे बात करेंगे, बहुत ज़्यादा लगभग पूरी की पूरी संभावना है कि उसके बाद वो अपना व्यवहार बदलें। कम से कम आपके सामने तो ताना नहीं मारेंगे, इतनी तो शर्म उन्हें आएगी, पीछे कोई कुछ करता है तो उससे आपको फ़र्क भी नहीं पड़ना चाहिए।
Also, sir, one of the student is asking, how can we make great decision in critical situation, difficult situations? How can we make, by great, he or she probably means that correct decisions, yes.
देखिए, क्या करेक्ट डिसीजन है वो कल लगेगा, जो आज इनकरेक्ट डिसीजन है वो कल करेक्ट लगेगा। पहली बात तो ये है कि ये हमेशा आपको पता होना चाहिए कि जीवन में कुछ भी कांस्टेंट नहीं है, कोई भी चीज़ जो है वो स्टैटिक नहीं है, सब कुछ बदलता रहता है, इसलिए डिसीजन, जजमेंट्स, जज्बात, इमोशन, योर थॉट प्रोसेस, एवरीथिंग चेंजेस ऑल द टाइम्स. So how do you arrive at in a critical juncture in your life, how you arrive at a best decision? What is the best option decision you have? I think it's about the instinct. Your instinct will always tell you which is the right decision. But there's a difference between instinct and impulse. Very often we confuse impulse with instinct and we take a decision based on the impulse and we go wrong. और इसीलिए आप कई लोगों को सुना होगा, कहते हैं मैं जब भी दिल की बात सुनता हूँ गड़बड़ हो जाता है। ऐसा नहीं है, आप दिल की बात नहीं सुन रहे हैं, आप जो हैं अपनी जो एक ग्रीड है या जो आपका टेम्पटेशंस हैं, वो इम्पल्स जो है उसकी बात सुन रहे हैं। इंस्टिंक्ट बड़ी यूनिक होती है, इंस्टिंक्ट इज़ द की टू योर सोल, ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दैट, एंड फर्स्ट यू हैव टू फाइंड दैट की, एंड वंस यू हैव फाउंड योर इंस्टिंक्ट, हो सकता है 10 में से 2-3 बार गलत हों आपके डिसीशंस, हो सकता है आज गलत लगे या 4 साल बाद गलत लगे, 25-30 साल के बाद वही डिसीजन आपकी ज़िंदगी बदल सकते हैं। तो कई मैं कितने सारे लोगों को जानता हूँ जो नीट में फेल हो गए और उनने सोचा कि अरे हम ये नहीं करते, वो करते तो ऐसा होता, लेकिन आगे चल के वो लोग लाइफ में सक्सेसफुल बने। जो आदमी सीखने की चाह रखता है, जो अपने इंस्टिंक्ट्स और अपने कन्विक्शन को फॉलो करता है, वो हमेशा क्रिटिकल जंक्शन में जनरली स्पीकिंग सिर्फ खुद के लिए सही डिसीजन नहीं लेता है, बल्कि अपने आसपास जुड़े हुए जितने लोग हैं उनके लिए भी सही डिसीजन लेता है। तो बिलीव इन योर इंस्टिंक्ट्स। एक आप लिख लीजिए अपने दिमाग में, यहाँ पे दीवारों पे सब जगह, कि जब आपको डबल माइंड हो कि दिल की सुनूं या दिमाग की सुनूं। आखिर दिल क्या, दिल तो बोलता नहीं है, दिमाग ही दिल बन के बोलता है एक्चुअली। और तो दिल और दिमाग के बीच में कभी लड़ाई नहीं होती है, लड़ाई हमेशा इंस्टिंक्ट के बीच में और आपकी इम्पल्स के बीच में होती है। और जनरली लोग 99% केसेस में इम्पल्स की बात सुनते हैं। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आपकी इंस्टिंक्ट कहती है कि अभी एग्ज़ाम चल रहे हैं और मुझे बाज़ार का खाना नहीं खाना चाहिए, अगर गलती से मेरा पेट ख़राब हो गया तो मैं एग्ज़ाम कैसे दूंगा, राइट। लेकिन आप एक चाट की दुकान पे खड़े हैं 4 दोस्तों के साथ, तो उस वक्त आप कहते हैं कि अच्छा चलो एक खा लेंगे तो क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है। आपको लगता है ये आपकी इंस्टिंक्ट है, नहीं, आपका इम्पल्स है। और वो एक खाने से कई बार पेट खराब हो जाता है, एग्ज़ाम खराब हो सकता है। वही फ़ोन कॉल जो आप एग्ज़ाम के टाइम में सोचते हैं चलो 10 मिनट करना था और 10 मिनट कर लेंगे, क्या फ़र्क पड़ जाएगा। वो जो रज़ाई के अंदर घुस के छुप छुप के रात को 1-2 घंटे आप जो व्हाट्सएप पे या स्नैपचैट पे जो दोस्तों से बात करते रहते हैं, वो जो बिना बात के वीडियोस देखते रहते हैं, कि वो गलत नहीं है, लेकिन उस टाइम में हमको लगता है यार व्हाट द हेल। लेकिन आपकी इंस्टिंक्ट अंदर ही अंदर, देखिए जो आपसे ये कह रहा है कि नहीं यार हमें अभी सो जाना चाहिए, वो करेक्ट है, वो इंस्टिंक्ट है, क्योंकि वो आपकी बॉडी को जानती है, वो आपके चैलेंजेस को जानती है, वो आपके माइंड को जानती है, वो आपकी लाइफ की सिचुएशन को जानती है। वो इंस्टिंक्ट है। इंस्टिंक्ट हमेशा हमेशा आपको सही रास्ते पे ले जाएगी, लेकिन आप जो है इम्पल्स की बात सुनते हैं, और इसीलिए हम लोग क्रिटिकल जंक्शन में हमेशा गलत डिसीजन लेते हैं। तो ये अक्लमंद आदमी वही होता है जो अपनी इम्पल्स को मारे और इंस्टिंक्ट को हर वक्त स्ट्रॉन्ग करे।
We'll take one more live question from Shubh Utkarsh from Kendriya Vidyalaya.
आज बड़े केंद्रीय विद्यालय के बच्चे।
A very good evening, sir and ma'am. Ma'am, I want to ask you that how did you overcome the societal pressure when you decided that you will pursue acting as a career?
See, there was, I didn't feel the society pressure because it was already borne by my parents and my grandmother before that. I'm the 3rd generation of actor in our family. My grandmother started out to be an actor in 1940s, 50s sometime during the black and white cinema, especially in Marathi cinema. And then both my parents were doing theatre, and it kind of became a natural choice for all of us. So back in those times, as you correctly asked in your question, it wasn't a very acceptable thing. So we were, I think, used to being social outcasts anyways. And hence the importance, the stress on education was far, far greater in our home. My mother was a classical singer, Hindustani classical singer. She had done her MA in music. So her stress on education was very great. That she always stressed upon the fact that just in case, you know, your acting career doesn't take off, or if you don't get enough opportunities in film, your education should always, you should always have education on your side as your fallback option. I think that was the first, Ankita, na, the first girl, what was her name? She had asked me. Nihania, sorry. Yeah. She had asked me that question, and I said, as a mother, I would always tell you have a fallback option. So that's exactly what my mother had done. So unfortunately, there was no kind of societal pressure that I had felt. And now it's gone. Now everybody wants to act. So there is no pressure now.
Yes. In fact, we have received one of a very interesting question which is related to film career only. So he is asking, is film career a secure career option for new generation?
I will put a little, parenthesis on this word secure, because what we mostly look at security is a regular income. At the end of the month, when you receive that paycheck, you know that an X amount of money is going to keep coming to you. Nothing of the sort happens in the film industry, because you're not doing a job which is going to guarantee you money every month. You're professionals. So you go from job to job here. If you're successful, then you have a good run.
Right.
And then you keep making money until you have a good run.
Right.
But once that is done, then it's a struggle again. Unless you evolve, you start out as an actor, later graduate to becoming a director, or then go on to become a producer. You keep changing your lines, you keep evolving, then yes, you can be here for a long time. Or then you have to be Shah Rukh Khan to be here forever, or Mr. Bachchan, But in terms of security, money-wise, there is no saying that, you will have it. Of course, there are certain calculations here which the film industry has, and if you play your cards right, as they say, then you make enough money to last you a lifetime if you play your cards right. But then it's a gamble again. You should come into this line only if you're ready to play that gamble. If you are interested in being self-employed and can go seeking job after job after job, right, and not worry about the security of that fixed income that comes to you. It's not a bad place to be at all. It's a great place. We enjoy every moment of it. We have enjoyed all the highs. We've enjoyed all our lows, because our lows
So basically, if
taught
you are
us a lot.
determined, also if it is coming from within, you will, make somewhere in life,
Of course.
irrespective of the field you choose.
Of course.
And here I would also like to say, this is our book Exam Warrior, which is written by PM. And उसमें एक chapter है, be a warrior, not a warrior. And I think that will go perfectly here. Where
Correct.
They have
That's the first thing I read when I picked up this book. Yeah, बहुत अच्छा, very good quote.
Right. So ma'am, and sir, we will take the last question now, which is that how did you handle failures? Failures in terms of not only studies but also in terms of career, setbacks आपको कुछ लगे, कुछ मिले, and कुछ highs आए, कुछ lows आए, तो जो lows थे उनसे आपने कैसे deal किया?
मैं बहुत छोटे से इसका जवाब दूंगी. जो लोज आते हैं आपके जीवन में काम को लेके, वो काम के लोज होते हैं, वो आपके जीवन के लोज नहीं होते. तो जब काम आप करते हैं तो कभी कभी कुछ दिन होते हैं जब आप बहुत अच्छा काम करते हैं, जब ऑफिस में आप जाते हैं तब कुछ दिन आपका मन नहीं लगता और आपसे कुछ नहीं होता. हो सकता है आपका बॉस आके आपको 2 बार डांट भी दे कि क्या हो क्या रहा है आज, क्या मन नहीं लग रहा है क्या, चलो घर जाओ. वो आपका सेटबैक नहीं होता. तो हम सारे सेटबैक्स को इसी तरह से देखते हैं कि ये काम के सेटबैक्स है, ये पर्सनल सेटबैक्स नहीं है हमारे. जैसे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ये जो लाइन लिखी है इसमें कि जो परीक्षा है वो किसी एक सब्जेक्ट की है, वो कोई आपकी जीवन की परीक्षा नहीं है. तो उसमें यदि आपके कम मार्क्स आ जाए किसी चीज़ में तो आप ये मत सोचिए कि आप जीवन में फेल हो गए हैं. जीवन में फेल तो आप तब होंगे जब आपको कोई पर्सनल लेवल पर कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आएंगे. तो ठीक है, काम है. एक फिल्म कभी चली, एक फिल्म नहीं चली, एक फिल्म बहुत अच्छी लगी लोगों को, एक फिल्म उसके बाद एवरेज बिजनेस किया. डजेंट मैटर, दिस इज़ हाउ लाइफ गोज़ ऑन. तो सिमिलरली अगर बहुत ज़्यादा जिनको 99 आउट ऑफ 100 मार्क्स नहीं चाहिए पर जिनको मॉडरेटली सक्सेसफुल होना है, उनको अगर थोड़ा हिस्ट्री में ज़्यादा मिल जाए, जोग्राफी में कम मिल जाए, इंग्लिश में ज़्यादा मिल जाए, हिंदी में कम मिल जाए, तो उससे कुछ दीज आर नॉट सेटबैक्स. ये होता है, ऊपर नीचे होता रहता है, ये ज्वार भाटा ही ज़िंदगी है.
मैं तो मानता ही नहीं फेलियर नाम की कोई चीज़ होती है, तो शब्द ही गलत है अपने आप में.
Okay, so it is not failure, it is just highs and lows, and we have to keep going.
Correct.
So we have the last student from the live with us, Solam D'Souza.
A very good evening, sir and ma'am. I am Salomi from class 11 of Kendra Vidyalaya, number 1, A4 Station, Hindon. Ma'am, often we hear that examination should be taken as a festival and getting 100% marks is not important. Yet, in the society, people judge us based on academics rather than our personality and skills we possess. This causes stress. So, how can we deal with it and tell people that all round personality matters and not only marks?
You know, there have been lots of surveys. In fact, today in the morning I put this post on Twitter. There have been many surveys in the world and very credible surveys. And about how people, when they are old and they are dying, how do they look at their life backwards? And almost everybody, so you can say 9 out of 10 people, they believe that they wasted all their life worrying about what people say. And in the process, they lost touch with their own heart. In the process, they forgot what is the purpose of their life, what is their worth, what is their value. Because we very soon start judging ourselves from somebody else's eyes, and which I think is wrong. Why should you care about how people judge you? Why should people's opinions matter to you so much? Because you are told that people's opinions matter. Because parents say, "Arey bahar wale kya bolenge?" Teachers say, "What the world will say." Your friends will say, "What other friends will say." And therefore, we are always under the pressure to perform for the others. And in the process, we forget how to enjoy what we are doing. So obviously, exam is not about 100%. Exam is about actually nothing. Exam is just one logical step to what you are doing in your life. I mean, all the 11 months what you do, it's another logical step to that, but it's not conclusion, it's not beginning, it's just another step in your life.
Culmination of a subject maybe.
So therefore, I think what is really important, what will make you stand apart from everybody and what will make you successful in life is always believe that you are an elephant, and when you walk, then all the street dogs are going to bark. But the elephant keeps walking.
So I'm sure you got your answer. One has to be very confident and not listen to anyone else. And we are ending this amazing, wonderful conversation on this note. It was great having you, ma'am and sir. And we hope to see you soon.
Yes, it was wonderful being here, as it was last year also. And to all the students who are here, I wish you all the very best in life. No matter which profession you choose, no matter how much you make in your exams, please don't forget one thing, that you have to be happy no matter what you do in life. So only do the things that make you happy, spread happiness in this world, because we really need it. This time, the world is in such a place now that we really need happiness. And we are looking at your generation to spread that kind of happiness. So all the very best.
And all I would say in conclusion, that you are the best, you are God's own child. So just live with that belief and confidence and close your ears for everybody else.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for all the questions. Do come back for our next session and stay tuned for Pariksha Parv 5.0 on New India Junction, Doordarshan and NCPCR. Namaste.